Hello and welcome to the Money Compass.
In each episode, we will be preparing you for your journey through the world of finance and helping you tick off the destinations on your financial itinerary.
Pack your bags and prepare for takeoff as you navigate your way to financial success.
Today's a very special day.
It certainly is. I'm very excited.
It's like Christmas come early.
Okay, you're going a little bit extreme there, guys.
It's not. It's a very exciting day for you.
It is a very exciting day for me, thank you. Yes, it is.
So are we going to tell everyone what that exciting day is? What's happening, Julie? Go on.
It's my book launch day!
Woo!
And I can finally announce the name of the book.
You can.
Although you might have guessed, but I don't know.
I don't know. Let's not make people guess.
Let's not guess. So, of course, the book is called The Money Compass, An Insider's Guide to Financial Success, and with the tagline, How to Take Control of Your Finances and Live the Future You Want.
Very good.
Try saying that after 2 glasses of wine.
Yeah, that's going to be tricky, isn't it?
Definitely. So, yeah, I'm very, very excited. I have had the author's copy for a couple of weeks, which has been very good because I actually get to see it. And, it's actually in print. So all that hard work earlier in the year, and it's actually a real bona fide book. I guess I should really do much. Do you want me to do my thank yous now or do my thank yous later?
You can do your thank yous now. Go on.
Oh,
we'll
okay.
start with some thank yous.
Okay, well, I guess I have to, it makes me sound like I'm like received an Oscar.
My mum.
Let's not get carried away. Okay, so obviously the book was a bit of a labour of love. I ended up doing the book because I joined Lisa Johnson's mastermind at the end of 2020 for 2021. And part of that mastermind was actually to write a book with Abigail Horn from Authors & Co. And when I first joined, I was a bit like, a book. What am I going to write about? And I met up with Abigail to have a chat about it, or Abby, and we started chatting, and it just kind of was like, well, it's a bit of a no-brainer, really. It needs to be about money and about financial success, which is basically what we talk about in the Money Compass all the time. So that was the idea. We put together a blueprint for the book, and it kind of went from there. So obviously, thanks to Lisa and to Abby for all their help and support, and all the guys at Authors & Co. as well for their work to put the book together. Thanks to Ralph, who is my husband and long-suffering, having to put up with the book and everything that went with it. So, and he actually read the first edit as well and gave his feedback. So that was very good. Mm-hmm. Also, thanks to Emma and Becky, who are here with me today, because they also read the book and gave their feedback. And a huge thank you to Emma Rains, who not only read the book, gave feedback, and then she actually proofread it as well before it went to Authors & Co. for a final proofread. So Emma Rains is a superstar because she's not read it just once, but she's read it twice. And I'm not sure if she wants a signed copy that I'm putting in the post to her, but I'm sure that she will.
Having it anyway.
I'm sure that she will read it again for a third time when it arrives.
I'm sure she will.
So definitely. So yes, that's the book really.
So how on earth did you go about writing this book? Where did you start? Obviously, finance and financial success is a really big topic. So where on earth did you start?
I kind of wanted to, first of all, the first thing is to think about who your book is aimed for. And I really wanted this to be aimed for female business owners and female entrepreneurs. Although if you are a man and you're listening, there's no reason why you can't read it. But I kind of wanted to aim it at that kind of area. I found over the last sort of 18 months, 2 years, that this is certainly a group of people who kind of have found money quite a taboo topic to talk about in the past. And I think it's really, really important to be able to have those money conversations with people now. And that was why the book, I'm hoping, is it covers the basics at the beginning to help you go through sorting out yourself, sorting out your finances, to help you understand what you've currently got, what your plans for the future are, how to put your goals together, and how to actually put it all together. And then it goes through more detail about how to budget and different bits and pieces, through to investing and talking like from investment points of view. And right at the end, some safety nets of things that I think are really important for everyone to consider.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember the pain we went through with this, Becky, about when Julie went away and how long it took and how long she took to write a chapter and the countdown of each chapter?
Yes, I do. Yes, there was a tick list of the chapters that she was going to write.
I wasn't that bad, was I?
No, you weren't. You weren't at all. So what did you do? How did you go about actually writing it?
Well, I was actually quite lucky because I started to try and write it at work, and I did my blueprint really early on. And one of the first things that we had to do was to write the introduction. And that was just like, I think one of the hardest things to write, because it's like, what on earth am I going to write? I remember sitting at home in January or February with snow outside, looking at the birds in the garden and thinking, where do I go from here? And then it...
Not procrastinating by any chance.
I don't know what you mean.
I'm a nightmare for stuff like that as well. I would always write the introduction last because I like to write what I've written about and then go back and then I can introduce it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Then you know what you've written about.
That's it. But this wasn't the process, girls. And then so I got the introduction done, and then it was like, and then nothing happened for about 3 months. And obviously we were in lockdown. If you remember earlier this year, it was a lockdown. One of the things that was part of the mastermind was that Lisa's got a house in Stamford, and being a masterminder means I got a week or like a midweek to go and stay at the house. And I think I was actually the first masterminder to actually go. So the minute I could actually get booked in and we were allowed out from a COVID point of view, I booked myself for a week in the house at Stamford to get away from everything so I could actually sit down and write the book. I'd already got the contents, what I wanted to write about, laid out. Not that basically stuck to that, because as I started writing, certain chapters merged with other chapters. New chapters appeared that kind of led on naturally to what I was talking about and what I was writing about. But yes, so I basically wrote the first half of the book whilst I was in Stamford at Lisa's house. Second house, Lisa wasn't there as well, just to clarify. She didn't have to put up with me for an entire week, bless her.
So what about the second half of the book? Did that just magically appear overnight?
When I got back after my week at Lisa's house, I realised that there was no way that I was going to be able to write it at work in between what I was doing. I mean, I was sitting at the desk, people would come and ask me questions. Sitting in the meeting room, I'd know things were happening in the office, and I'm far too nosy to be able to sit in a separate room doing things out, wondering what's going on. So I decided, I know this is it. So I decided the best thing to do was to go away. So I basically went on Airbnb, because everybody talks about how cheap Airbnb is. And I thought, well, you know what? I've not really ever been an Airbnb kind of girl, but let's give it a go. And I looked, and the thing is, I didn't just want a bed. I wanted a room which had a table that I could, and a chair that I could sit at and write. So I couldn't just have some old wooden spindly old chair that was in someone's spare bedroom that they had as an Airbnb. And in the end, I ended up in a caravan down at Braden Water out towards Yarmouth Way. And I went down there for a midweek break, and I wrote the second half of my book.
Wow, very productive 2 weeks then.
And I think you came out and saw me for pizza. I think I cooked for you, Emma.
You did. I was honoured. I think it's the first time that you've ever cooked for me. I actually took a picture of the moment, so...
Did I not burn it?
No, you didn't.
Oh, okay. That was quite impressive for me. So, yeah. And that was the book finished. But that wasn't all of it.
It wasn't.
I had to edit it next, which is when you guys all came in and you all kind of read it. And then I had to make all the changes that you'd suggested, or go through the changes that you suggested and decide whether or not I was going to make them or not.
Delete out all of the extra commas.
Yeah, Becky is my comma queen. She basically takes away all my commas, although I have to say some were put back in again. So yes, we had to do that.
I think commas are a personal thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And then it went to Emma Rains for her to read, and then to proofread, and then it went to Authors and Co for them to proofread. So I think by the time we did this, I'd kind of like read it like about 20 times. It feels like 20 times. It might not be 20 times. And I almost
but you know it inside out.
I felt like I had a bit of a love-hate relationship with it at one point, but I feel now it's here, it's kind of a bit of a love relationship again.
Now it's in your hands. It's very real.
Absolutely.
It's very pretty too.
It is, isn't
Shiny.
it? I just want to hold it and stroke it.
So, do you have a favourite part or chapter of the book?
Oh, that's a really hard question. I think it was quite difficult because bits, I want to say the word technical, but not sort of technical, the more about investments, they came easier to me because it's obviously a topic that I talk about and I work with and I have done for the last 23 years. So they came a lot more naturally to me, I think, than maybe some of the other chapters. But then I had the other element of that was to make sure that they were readable by everybody and understandable by everyone.
That knows absolutely nothing.
So yeah, so I found that quite difficult to kind of get them to be the right language so everyone could understand it. So, and I think I'd like to hope that I've achieved that. So, but no, I don't think I really had a favourite part. There was definitely parts that I enjoyed writing, which was like the investment side of it. But I also liked looking at the 5, the stages of, looking at your goals, going through organising your finances. I really enjoyed those parts as well.
So did you learn anything that you didn't know? when you were writing your book?
What I did do, a part of the book, I talk about cash flow modelling, what that means is looking at your finances and making your plans for the future, and which is one of the topics that I feel quite passionate about. And I actually put the figures in and looked at my own future, and that was quite eye-opening from that respect, because although I talk about it every day, and I deal with it for clients every day, and obviously I know my situation where I'm at, it was quite interesting to kind of do that process and due diligence on myself and to see where it's at. So that was quite interesting.
Fantastic. So do we get a sneak preview?
You do.
You going to read us some?
I'm hoping so.
Ooh.
So, well, Becky's actually obviously read this already twice. And so I've let Becky choose her favourite chapter. So which chapter's your favourite, Becky?
So this chapter is called The Bank of Mum and Dad, then in brackets, and other things not to rely on or do.
Okay, so I'm going to read you a chapter of the book. It's quite a short chapter, so don't panic. You're not going to be here for another 2 hours. So we've established with your financial goals and you have a plan in place to achieve those. But here I want to look at some things that people have done in the past, thinking they're a good idea, so to help them achieve their goals. So the first one is the Bank of Mum and Dad. Unfortunately, over the years that I've worked in financial services, I've come across this far too many times. I'll pay my mortgage off when my parents die. My parents will bail me out. They always have in the past. I don't need to worry about my retirement plans. My parents will be dead by then and I'll get the house and all their money. It makes me feel incredibly sad when I hear quotes like these, and these are all real quotes that I have actually heard over the years. Whilst the Bank of Mum and Dad will have served many of us over the years, and I'm no exception, my dad was guarantor on my first mortgage when I was 18. It became a real problem when misused, misunderstood, relied upon in the wrong way. When I moved house and remortgaged in 2001, I realised that I actually earned more money than my parents did. When I took Mum out, I used to treat her rather than expecting her to treat me. However, my story aside, if your parents are wealthy, why shouldn't you rely on the Bank of Mum and Dad? A few years ago, we had an elderly couple as clients. The wife was 15 years younger than the husband, and it was the third marriage for the husband. The assumption by all the family was that the husband would be the first to die, as he was that much older than his wife. His will left everything to his wife, or in the event of her dying first, then everything to his 2 children. The assumption by the 2 children was that the wife, their stepmother, had an identical will. However, as it happened, the wife sadly died first. We went to see the husband and the children after the wife had died, and it certainly was an interesting meeting. The wife's will had been read, only for the children to discover that, like her husband's will, she had left everything to him. However, in the event of him predeceasing her, she had left everything to charity. The children would have received nothing. The estate size was approximately £2 million. The 2 children had already been spending their inheritance before their father died a year later. And I wouldn't wish death on anyone. However, am I alone to secretly wish he'd gone first? Where there are families of children from first and second marriages, getting the correct wording in the will is so important. The expectation of receiving anything may be misplaced. Old age care. Today, people are living longer, but they are unfortunately not always healthier. The number of people having to move into a care home or needing live-in carers is on the increase, and the cost of care isn't cheap. The average cost of a residential care home comes in at over £2,800 per month, and nursing care homes even higher. Live-in carers come in even higher still. When you write down your life goals and what you want to achieve in retirement, not many of us write down going into a care home, and your parents will be no different. That inheritance that you are relying on from your Bank of Mum and Dad as part of your long-term strategy may all be eaten up before it even gets to you. And on a bit more cheerful note, lottery wins. Why is this your favourite chapter, Becky?
I like it. I think it's good.
We all like the idea of winning the lottery. I remember a rollover week a few years back for a total of 93 million. Wow, what I would do with that. I remember thinking about it all week, mentally noting all the friends and family members that I'd be able to help, for charities I would support, and of course the difference it would make in my own life. But Friday night came and went, and someone else was £93 million richer. I just hope that they were as altruistic as I was planning to be. Much as I enjoyed the planning and the dream, winning the lottery isn't a great plan for the future. First things first, you need to buy a lottery ticket to be in the chance of winning it. And second, there's a 1 in 45 million chance of winning the big one. Unfortunately, a lottery win should not form part of your financial plan for the future.
That was really good. Thank you for reading that, Julie. And that is my favourite chapter because I like hearing your story and bits about your experience. And I think that chapter
And I think
tells us a good insight.
It's so true as well, like what clients have said and the things you've heard. I hear them day in, day out, and you just think, how can people live in that way? But so many people do. And it's just a really good thing to kind of point out to people that you shouldn't rely on those things. So, good chapter.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you very much.
So, importantly, this is book 1. Is there going to be a sequel, Julie?
At the moment, I'm just kind of like almost in that euphoric moment of enjoying the moment of book 1. Let's just see how this goes, and before we see whether or not there's going to be a book 2.
Never say never.
Fair enough. Depends how many listeners go out and buy it, I suppose, as well.
This is very true as well, as Sean Connery once said.
There we go.
That's it. So
Where can our listeners buy the book from, and when can they get it from?
So the book is available from, this is a very good question, Thursday the 21st of October. It's available on Amazon, and there'll be a link in the podcast thing, and it's available today. So if you're listening today on Thursday the 21st of October for 99p on Kindle. So if you've got a spare £1 and you'd like to read it, all purchases would be very, very gratefully received, and it would be fantastic to get it up the charts on its opening days. And it's also available in paperback, and it's also available in rather beautifully hardback.
Ooh, very fancy.
Very fancy indeed. I'm certainly looking forward to getting my hands on another copy.
Definitely, and to the launch tonight.
Definitely.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Not to forget, if you're listening in the morning of the 21st of October, then we have got a book launch tonight at Ketteringham Hall. I'm not sure, unless I check with Ellie, my PA, whether we've got spaces or not. But if you would like to try and come along, give us a shout, and she'll be able to have a look and see whether or not we've got any spaces left for you to come and join us at the Orangery at Ketteringham Hall at Norwich.
Thank you, Julie, for your reading. That was wonderful.
Thank you very much.
And with that, we've completed today's episode. We hope you have enjoyed following along with us today and taking another step closer to a financially secure future.
If you've enjoyed today's podcast, you can head over to themoneycompass.co.uk where you can find out more information, hints and tips from today's episode.
If you'd like to get more involved, share your own experiences and learn from a friendly community on a similar journey to you, why not join us in our Facebook group, The Money Compass, where we will support you in navigating your way to financial success.
Thank you for listening, and see you next time.